Hey y'all, it's Io here from Noodle Nook, and I help teachers survive and thrive in special education. In this video, I'm going to share with you 7 proven ways to effectively implement visual schedules in your special ed classroom. So let's get started. All right, so before I share the steps that you need to take to implement a visual schedule in your classroom, let's talk about why you need a visual schedule in the first place. I mean, why would you need one in your special ed classroom? Well, it turns out there are several reasons that you want to have a visual schedule present in your classroom, but I'm going to share with you the top 6 reasons you should have a visual schedule in your classroom. One reason is because research has shown that having a visual schedule is calming for students, especially those with disabilities. The second reason is because the structure and predictability also allow for a sense of safety, which is essential in a special ed classroom. The third reason is because visual schedules are easier for our students to interpret and pull information from, and that's why it's essential in a special ed classroom. The fourth reason is because it is an easier way to communicate with students when it's time to do schedule changes or go on to the next task. The fifth reason is because it reduces behavior problems. Oh my gosh, works so well to reduce behavior problems. And this is not anecdotal, this is actually research-based. So definitely, if you're having behaviors in your classroom, make sure you have a visual schedule. And the last reason that you want to have a visual schedule in your classroom is because it improves student independence and overall productivity. And don't we all want that? Definitely. All right, so now that we know why we want to have a visual schedule in our classroom, let's talk about who needs a visual schedule. Well, the truth is, nearly everybody. I mean, I use a schedule. I don't know what I'm doing without my calendar. And most people productively in the world need some kind of calendar or schedule system to keep them on task. So not only are you helping to solve problems within your classroom, you're also helping your student to organize their thoughts and days better and be more prepared to handle adult living. So if for no other reason, you should be using a visual schedule because it will help support a student in their post-secondary goals. But in terms of specific students, if you have a student who is easily sidetracked or distracted, then they need a visual schedule. If you have a student who benefits from visuals in general, then my guess is they'll benefit from a visual schedule. If you have a student who is generally disorganized or messy, then they need a visual schedule. And if you have a student who is troubled with unstructured time or gets into behaviors when there's downtime in the classroom, then they need a visual schedule. If you have a student who exhibits poor decision-making or really lacks developed executive functioning, then they need a visual schedule. So really, what you're hearing from me is almost anyone can benefit from a visual schedule. All right, let's get into the steps that you need to take to effectively implement a visual schedule in your classroom. Number 1 is to decide on a format. Now, there are a couple of different kinds. You might decide that you want a very short schedule that is only giving students information as to what's happening right now and what's happening next, because that's really all the information that they can hold on to at one moment. You might decide that you want to have a schedule that allows you to close off the tasks that have been completed so that a student can see easily the process or progress that they're going through in the day. So that's another option for you for visual schedules. Or if you have a student who has a little bit higher functioning level, you might decide that you want to have a write-on type of schedule. Now, this is a visual schedule, even though it doesn't have icons. What we can do here, because it's in the dry erase sleeve, is just use a dry erase marker to write the task and check it off as it's completed. In fact, you might find that a student is able to check off their own tasks as they complete it, because what they really needed was for you to organize the steps that are going on in the day, and also give them a little bit more structure and routine so that there's some predictability. So step number 1 is to decide on the format of a visual schedule that you want to use with a specific student or with the students in your classroom. Step number 2 is to decide on a cue phrase. There's something that you want to say to trigger your student to check their own schedule. If you're giving a student a visual schedule and then every couple minutes coming over to check the schedule for them and then tell them what to do, they're not developing the skill of being able to check their own schedule. Now, in the beginning, yes, you may have to do that so that you can reference using the schedule and how to do that appropriately. But to get that very first cue phrase initiated right from the get-go is going to remind the student that they are in charge of checking the schedule, not that the teacher's in charge of checking the schedule and then telling them what to do. So just that little step of giving that cue word helps the student not to develop this feeling of learned helplessness. So step number 2, you want to start with a cue phrase. And that cue phrase can be something as simple as check your schedule. Step number 3 is to introduce the schedule by modeling it. So, like I just mentioned, we don't want our students to get into the habit of thinking we're always going to check the schedule for them and tell them what to do, but we do have to model what checking the schedule looks like. So you'll use your cue phrase, check the schedule, and then you will model what that looks like. You might physically go and get the schedule, check to see what's going on, and then go ahead and cue the student that they need to get ready for that task. Then, when that task is finished, you're going to model what it looks like to complete that. Now, it could be that the student has to check with you to determine if a task is really completed the way it's supposed to be done before they're allowed to check it off. Or it could be when they feel like they've completed the task as best they can that they get to check off their own completion. So, a couple of different ways that you want to model that so they know exactly what you want them to do. Remember here, one key thing. Consistency matters, especially in the beginning. You want to do this the same way every time so that a student becomes familiar with the process and can start to implement it without so much reminders and without so much modeling. If you know of a teacher who needs to hear about being consistent, share this video on social media now so that they can see how important consistency is, especially in training out how to use a visual schedule. All right, y'all. Step number 4 is to reinforce. Yeah, if a student is using the visual schedule the way that they're supposed to, reinforce them, cheerlead, use physical or edible reinforcers, whatever it is that's necessary for your student to feel like using this tool is a good thing. Now, we don't always have to use physical or tangible reinforcers. We can use intrinsic motivation as well, but we have to use that motivation and reinforcers as the student is successfully using the visual schedule, especially in the beginning when we're trying to get that good behavior laid out for them. All right, step number 5 is to fade the reinforcer. If you've been giving edibles and high fives and tangible reinforcers every time a student uses the visual schedule, you want to start to fade that back so that the student isn't dependent on that in order to do the behavior of checking their schedule. So even though we come on strong in the beginning, we do want to fade that back over time. If you love that tip, definitely hit the like button right now. We want to make sure that we're not always doing all of the heavy lifting for our students. We want to fade this so that they become independent at it. Which brings us to step number 6. We're going to have to update things as needed. I know sometimes it's like you made it, you laminated it, you put the Velcro on it, and now you want me to update it? Yeah, I do. You have to try to take some either anecdotal data or real data about how effective this visual schedule is for the students. It might help you to decide if you want to stick with one option or if it's time to go with a different format because it's not as effective as you thought it would be. So you want to actually take data and update. The other thing that you're thinking about too is how much work time they need to do in between each of the activities on their schedule. It might be in the very beginning, you have to schedule out every couple of minutes because they just can't get into the groove of things. But then as time goes on, you might be able to schedule out bigger tasks. So instead of saying, put your name on the paper, turn the paper into the basket, you might just be able to assign a task with a check mark and be done. So you want to update your visual schedule to meet the needs of your student as those needs change over time. All right, and number 7, the 7th tip to get this done, it's kind of a backwards tip. You want to break the schedule. Ooh, I know, but we do start to get students who are overly schedule dependent, who get so upset when there's a break in routine that we have insane behaviors. So as we're training out what a visual schedule looks like and how it works, We want to throw a couple of monkey wrenches into the schedule so that we can see what happens for the student when their routine is broken. We do this in a controlled situation where we have an opportunity to model what an appropriate response is and also help the student to overcome any schedule changes. So the worst time to teach what to do when your schedule is broken up is during a fire drill. The best time to do that is when you're in the midst of a normal day and you are able to control a schedule break that requires the student to either adjust their own schedule or make whatever behavior accommodation you choose so they can move past it. All right, y'all, so there you have it, the 7 steps to effectively implementing a visual schedule in your classroom. First step, decide on the format that you want to use. Second step is to introduce that cue phrase, such as check your schedule. The third step is to model for your students so that they can understand exactly what this checking schedule business is all about. The fourth step is to use a reinforcer so that you can reinforce the positive behavior that you're asking the student to exhibit. Then you get to step number 5, which is fading all of the tangible or other types of positive reinforcement and letting the student be intrinsically reinforced by using the visual schedule. Step number 6 is to update the visual schedule based on data and anecdotal notes of how things are going. And step number 7 is to throw that monkey wrench into the schedule and help a student learn to overcome disruptions in their normal routine or normal schedule. If you do these steps, you will learn from some mistakes that I have made along the way and help you to really implement a visual schedule with purpose, intent, and positive outcomes. If you do these things, you will definitely survive and thrive in special ed. All right, y'all, it's Io here with Noodle Nook. I'm so glad that you're here today, and I want to remind you to stay strong and teach on. We'll see you next time.